were you when you started?
18.
18.
Just when I turned 18.
Wow.
And that was April in 2008. So I started right as the market had peaked and was starting to go down. And that's when I jumped in.
Wow. And how did you start, or how did you transition into making YouTube videos and like sharing your knowledge of money and finance?
You know, honestly, that was something I've wanted to do for quite some time. I just never had the courage to do it. I really believe, like, who is going to watch me? Who would care what I had to say? And I said that for years. Like, I wanted to make YouTube videos back in 2011 because I had watched YouTube as my TV since like 2010. And I had seen all of these channels come up from nothing and thinking like, this is something I really want to do and I see the potential in doing this.
Yeah.
And after 3-4 years of telling myself that like no one would watch me, I posted a random video about how I got started selling real estate. I filmed that at an open house that was slow that day. And I posted it on YouTube, not thinking anything of it, but I had such a good time doing that that I figured, well, let me just make another one. And after that, you know, I started getting a few subscribers, maybe got like 2 or 3 subscribers at the time. And I kept posting videos and I started getting, you know, finally starting to get some sort of views. And I remember when my videos would hit like 100 views a video. And to me, that was like the biggest deal in the world, that like 100 people on the planet saw my video. And I kept posting, and then randomly about 3 months into it, I had one of my videos just take off, and YouTube started recommending that video on the homepage of YouTube for people that were searching for real estate. And that video went from like, I think it was at maybe 1,000 views at the time, maybe 2,000 views, all the way to like 300,000 views in about a week. And that took me from, I don't know, 500 subscribers to 32,000 within about a month and a half. And then I posted another video on how I make rental income, like passive income. And that took me from 32 to 50,000 subscribers. And that was enough to really get my initial wave on YouTube. And then at that point, I was like, holy crap, like now I'm actually making money by doing this with the ad revenue. And now I see the potential. And so I just continued doing that. And now that income has just skyrocketed. I mean, now it's almost, you know, 100 times to what I was making back then. It's just insane.
And your first video, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was, you were talking about how you became a millionaire at 26.
Yes.
And what did you do? You taught people how to be a millionaire at like a young age, or?
That video was more so just telling my story.
Okay.
There was nothing to sell in that video. It was literally just, this is what I did. And these are some of the things that you can learn from my experiences doing that. But basically that video summed up is that I saved everything I made. Working as a real estate agent, I was the cheapest person alive. I saved up money for about 3.5, 4 years, invested in real estate in 2011, fixed up those properties, rented them out. Those properties went up in value. I continued saving all the money I made as a real estate agent, continued investing. And then after about 7 years of doing that, I had $1 million net worth. And that was just before I turned 26.
And you made all this money from commissions on selling houses?
So I got involved as a real estate agent, initially leasing property. So I would find, because that would, to me at the time, was a really underserved market, was leasing. So I would lease people their houses. I'd maybe make $1,000, maybe $2,000 by doing this. No other agent wanted to waste their time doing leasing, because why would they make $1,000 when they can make $20,000 selling a home? But I would take all of these clients, and there's no competition for me back then. It was just, I was so happy to make $1,000 being like 18 or 19 years old. Like, to me, that may have been 100 grand. So what ended up happening, though, is after about 3 years, a lot of these lease clients ended up coming back to me and saying, hey, we want to buy a house now, and you're our agent. And so all of these $1,000 to $2,000 commissions started turning into $20,000 to $50,000 checks. And then they would tell their friends about me, and all of a sudden, one lease client could give me like 5 other sales. And I've had one lease client that I did, that I think it was like a $3,500 a month lease. I maybe made $1,200 from doing that. They've at least given me 7 or 8 clients for sale. And that's easily got to be worth over 200 grand from one client I did for lease. So it just kept snowballing and kept snowballing. And that's how I was able to come up as a real estate agent.